Now when you're doing this, I would suggest, now you can't write in your test booklets, but you can write over to the side on scratch paper that you have. So what I would do for number one, I would put down those levels, because it might be that you have several that are the same. And so you will have to go back and see, you know, which ones that you can rule out. So on St. Louis, if you look at where St. Louis is at, it's the darker pink or fuchsia or whatever it is. So it's 15 to 20. Chicago, it's up and it's the blue. So it's going to be 25 to 30. Detroit, now it's in this gray area here, so it's over 35. New York, it's again in a blue section, so it's 25 to 30. And Washington, D.C. is in a blue spot, so it's 25 to 30. So you've got one then. St. Louis is way below, it's the very least, so we can rule that out. And then we've got three answers that's the very same thing. And it wanted one answer. So if it wants one answer and you've got three that are the same and you're sure those three are right, then you can rule those out, because you can't have three answers for one. Now if it is a question and it says pick as many as are applicable, then you may want to pick three. So be careful and answer the question. Don't just run down and pick out an answer. And then if you'll look, Detroit was over 35s and it was the highest, so it's the only one there that would fit. Okay? Number 8, again we're dealing with acid rain. It says acid rain is a result of industrial pollution which can be carried by wind and water over thousands of miles from its source. Which statement is supported by this information and by the map? So where are you getting your information this time? You're getting it from the map and the directions. That statement I just read, it said by this information and by the map. So there's two places. So don't just look at the map, because it clearly said up here in your directions to use this. This will make a difference in your answer. Again, be very careful in reading your questions. So your answers down at the bottom, it says the major of chemical pollutants emitted in the United States are produced in the Northeast. There is not enough information that's given to us either here or here to support that. 2, Toronto is one of the most heavily polluted cities in Canada. Now if you go up and you'll look at Toronto, it's pink. And that's one of the higher levels of acid rain. Now what will happen is somebody will see that and they'll think, well, that's a higher level of acid rain. That's what I want to pick. It didn't ask that. It said which is the most heavily polluted. It didn't want to know what the level of acid rain was. So we don't have any indication on here at all of the level of pollution. We just have levels of acid rain. So don't answer this based on acid rain levels. Answer it based on pollution levels. So that's not one of your answers. Industry must be scaled back along the eastern coast of North America in order to reduce the levels of acid rain. We don't know that. There's nothing in this on this sheet that tells us that. So skip on to the next answer. Much of the acid rain in Canada is a result of the industrial pollution from the United States. Now look back at your map. Now it said up here at the top, it can be carried, the acid rain can be carried as a result of industrial pollution. What's up around Detroit? Acid rain, that's the highest level of acid rain. What industrial things are in Detroit? Where are all these car makers originate from?
GM, Detroit.
They're all in Detroit. And it's not just car pollutants, it's a lot of, Detroit is just the mega city for a lot of industry. And so therefore, and they sit right there on the Great Lakes. These white areas here are the 5 Great Lakes. So all that pollutants carried in the water and the winds carrying it because of the increased wind over those water areas. So it's carrying it into areas in Canada. It's thousands of miles away. So fourth, as much of acid rain is a result of the industrial pollutant from the United States. So you can look at the map and see the levels of acid rain and how that dark area, and then they kind of project out and they go out into Canada. So that's probably going to be your answer. But number 5 says Detroit's auto industry is the main cause of North America's high levels of acid rain. we don't know that it's the auto industry, okay? We don't have anything on this map to say that. So we go back, number 4 is your answer. Number 9, you're dealing with a chart this time. It says, based on the population changes shown in the table, which educational systems will most likely experience an increased enrollment? Now, it's giving you dates. It's giving you the age of the people. It starts out at 65 and older, 55 to 64, 45 to 54. It goes on down. It says under 18. It gives you the year of 1960, 1990, and then 2030. When was 2030? It ain't here yet. It's not happened yet, okay? So those are projected dates. It's just projecting based on what's happened in the past, what's going to happen in the future, okay? So if you look at this, just kind of scale down through 1960 and then 1990, you see that the 65 and older went from 9.3% to 12.7%, and then they've got it projected by 2030 to be 20.7%. Go down here to the under 18. It started out at 35.7%. It went down to 25.8 and down again for 2030 to 21.9. So it looks like, based on this chart, that the group is not going to be preschool or daycare. We don't have anything to indicate that. Elementary, high schools, college, universities. It's going to be the continuing and adult education centers because they're the ones that's experiencing the growth. The under 18 is declining, okay? So that's how you kind of analyze a chart, and you do it real quick when you're taking a test. But you look at the numbers and you see overall how they're running. Are they running up or down? And as you'll look down through here, you'll see some of them fluctuate. But they're the upper ages for adults. So they're still going to fit in that adult education criteria, okay? And then the very last, you see how as we go down through these maps, you analyze them. You look at them, you compare, you contrast, you see what's alike, you see what's different. And so I think if you will take this and you'll go back over it and you'll review it, when you get ready to start taking map tests on, and this just covers a very small portion of that OP test, but being able to get these skills up to date and analyze things will help you in other areas of your GED OP test and your GED test. Any questions? Okay, thank you.